Okay, so in the school that I came from, I always did bell ringers, which is as soon as the bell rings, they have 5 minutes to solve the problems that's on the board, and it usually helps them to get focused. So today, the lesson's going to be on 2 variables and 2 unknowns. So I'm going to start off easy, and this would be their bell ringer. So I would have the class solve these problems, and then I'd probably give them about 5-10 minutes to solve them. And then when they was done solving them, sorry I'm making this fast, when they was done solving them, we would talk about how could you solve for 2 unknowns and 2 equations. And I'd have the students break up into a group, and what we would do next is I would have them answer these questions. How could we solve for 2 or more unknowns? Well, there's 3 different ways we could solve for them. One way is substitution, one way is elimination, and the other way is graphing. And then this wouldn't be here. I would ask them, what do you think substitution means? And they would normally say to replace something. Elimination, to get rid of one thing. And graphing, well, whenever you graph, you would see where the intersection, where the 2 or 3 lines connect together, and right there would be your solution. Solutions on equations with more than unknown, you're going to have more than one answer. So you could possibly, with 2 equations, have an x comma y. With 3 equations, you could have an x comma y comma z. And so after we talked about this, I would have all the students break up into groups, and I'd have them make what I call a T. And the T looks like this. One side is what we know, and one side is what we need to know to solve the problem. So I'd have them split up, and I would have them talk about their solutions to each one of these problems, and have them evaluate each student how they came up with the solutions. Then while they was talking, I would put this equation on the board, and I would ask them to tell me how it is that they went through and solved the system for one variable earlier. And then I would set it up, and I would tell them that there was 3 different ways. So the first way I would show them is substitution, where you would take your 2x minus 3y equals -2, and then your 4x plus y equals 24. And so the easiest way to do this, since you just have your y by yourself, is we're going to move everything to the other side. Remember, when we change sides, we change signs. So this 4x is right now a positive. So when we move this 4x over here, what's it going to be? Well, if it's positive and it changes, it's going to be negative 4x. So what we have now is 2x minus 3y equals -2. And here we have y equals 24 minus 4x. So what we're going to do, like if we had 2x equals 12, we know x equals 6, we would plug the x in here. Well, now we know what y is, so we're going to plug the y in right there where the y is. So it would be 2x minus 3, and then we're going to use distribution for 24 minus 4x equals -2. Now we have to remember our order of operations, so which would come first? Which would be, good, distribution. So we do the distribution property first. So 2x minus 68 minus, remember this goes here, so is that going to be a minus or a plus? 2 negatives make a good. So it would actually be a plus 4x equals -2. And then what should we do next? We've got one variable on the same side, so are we going to change signs or use the sign the same? Remember, the only time you change signs is when you change sides. So we're going to leave them the same. So we're going to have, I ran out of room. We're going to have 14x minus 68 equals -2. And then you would solve for x. And I'm sorry I ran out of room. So once we did that, we would talk about how to do elimination, and then we would talk about graphing. And then I would assign him some problems, and then at the very end, we have our 5-minute recap, and our 5-minute recap is going to be How would you solve for variables if you have two or more unknowns? Well, the first thing you're going to do is use whichever of the three methods you like the best. Okay, if you like graphing the best, that would be fine. Graph, find your point. You know this point right here, say it's 2 comma y, or 2 comma 6 is your solution. So then you're going to check